Have you ever imagined that deep within ancient forests, or clinging to sheer cliffs hundreds of meters high, there are still houses, temples, and even entire communities quietly existing? In a world that grows noisier and more modern by the day, there are still forgotten corners where people live in complete seclusion, without electricity, without the internet, surrounded only by towering trees, cascading waterfalls, steep cliffs, and a silence so profound it chills the soul. Today, join Xiaoxu, a passionate explorer, as she embarks on a strange and breathtaking journey. She'll guide us across treacherous mountain paths, through wild terrain, and into the heart of stories long hidden from the world. You'll witness temples that hang in midair, wooden homes carved into cliffs, and solitary souls who've chosen to live in the heart of untouched wilderness, as if they've stepped out of martial arts epics, ancient myths, or forgotten legends. Are you ready? This journey begins now. The hermit's house above the forest, Guizhou. Atop a remote mountain 1,900 meters above sea level, hidden within a dense rainforest in Guizhou, stands a lonely wooden house. Here, a 90-year-old man has lived in solitude for nearly 30 years. No electricity, no running water, no human contact, only wind, birdsong, and the quiet breath of the mountains. From above, the forest shields the house like a green ocean, isolating it completely. Locals call him the forest hermit, a man who abandoned the rush of the world to find stillness. He grows his own food, drinks rainwater, and lives by the rhythms of the sun and seasons. Xiao Shui, our guide, spent hours trekking steep trails to reach him. What she found was more than a man. It was a philosophy, a life stripped of excess, surrounded by nature's wisdom. He doesn't speak much, but his silence is powerful. Looking into his eyes feels like looking through time. His story teaches us that in a world chasing more, sometimes less is the way home. The Cliffside Temple of Shizhu, Huangping, Guizhou. Clinging to the face of a vertical cliff, the Shizhu Temple is a marvel of ancient engineering and faith. Built during the Qing dynasty over 200 years ago, it appears to float above the valley, suspended hundreds of meters in the air. The beams of the temple pierce directly into rock, holding firm through storms, time, and earthquakes. Reaching the temple is no small feat. It requires climbing narrow, exposed trails where every step tests your courage. But when you arrive, the world falls silent. Incense drifts on the wind. Bells echo faintly across the valley. The energy is sacred. Xiao Shui walks slowly through the wooden corridors, hands brushing carvings that have stood for centuries. It's hard to imagine how ancient builders managed this feat on sheer stone. More than a place of worship, Shizhu is a monument to human determination. It stands as a bridge between heaven and earth, a reminder that belief can conquer even gravity. Bright summit of Jinfeng Mountain, Huangping, Guizhou. Jinfeng Mountain rises like a stone citadel from the heart of Guizhou, surrounded on all sides by jagged cliffs and sheer drop-offs. It's no wonder locals compare it to the Bright Summit from legendary martial arts novels. But this isn't fiction. This is history. At its peak lie the ruins of Beidi Palace, a Taoist structure built over 600 years ago during the Ming dynasty. Time has worn the walls, but the spirit remains. There is only one narrow path to the top, flanked by cliffs where one person could hold off 10,000. Xiaoxue's first two attempts to reach the summit failed, blocked by mist and impassable paths. But on the third try, she arrived. Standing where monks once chanted and warriors perhaps trained, the silence speaks volumes. It's a fortress built not just for defense, but for isolation, for contemplation. This is not just a place. It's a living legend carved into the mountain itself. Mianshui Grotto Temple, Qiaojia, Yunnan. Carved into a mountainside cliff, Mianshui Grotto Temple is an ancient marvel hidden deep in Yunnan's wild canyons. Built during the Qianlong reign of the Qing dynasty, the temple is nearly 300 years old and almost entirely invisible from afar. From the outside, it looks like nothing more than stone. But once you enter, you discover rooms carved from rock, halls etched with stories, and chambers that echo with forgotten prayers. A 70-year-old caretaker has guarded this temple for more than a decade, living alone in the shadow of stone. He lights incense each morning and watches over the cliff like a sentinel. Xiaoxue explores each crevice with reverence, marveling at the craftsmanship. The temple isn't just spiritual, it's sculptural, poetic. It feels as though the mountain itself was shaped by faith. Mianshui reminds us that some of humanity's most beautiful creations aren't built, they're revealed. Yaolong Mountain and the giant Buddha Peak, Tongzi, Guizhou. In the remote northern stretches of Guizhou stands Yaolong Mountain, called the #1 mountain by locals. Its crown jewel is Ruifeng Peak, which astonishingly resembles the head of a giant stone Buddha gazing into the clouds. Rising 1,795 meters, the mountain is revered as a sacred site, home to ancient temples and age-old incense trails. Pilgrims still travel hours to pay homage here, following a winding path up through gorges and misty forests. The mountain's silhouette, from afar, appears like 1,000 dragons swirling upward to protect the summit. Xiaoxu finds herself humbled at the temple's base. Bells toll gently. Smoke from incense coils around ancient statues, carrying with it the prayers of generations. Despite its remoteness, Yaolong Mountain is alive, with faith, history, and a silent majesty that defies time. Zhentu Temple's golden roof, Yinjiang, Guizhou. Rising above a steep and lonely peak in Yinjiang stands a glistening golden rooftop, Zhentu Temple. Built during the Ming dynasty, this ancient sanctuary is nearly impossible to reach, surrounded on all sides by sheer cliffs. Yet, for the past 17 years, a 90-year-old woman has lived beneath its sacred roof, guarding the temple in silence. When Xiaoxue returns to visit her, she finds her quietly sweeping the stone floor, speaking with the rhythm of someone who has found peace beyond society. Her story is one of devotion, not only to a temple, but to a way of life that values stillness over status. The temple, glowing in the afternoon sun, seems less like a structure and more like a golden memory clinging to the mountain. Goat Cliff Dwelling, Anlong, Guizhou. In the borderlands between Guizhou and Guangxi lives a man known only as the Goat Brother. For more than 10 years, he's lived alone on a cliff, raising goats beside a bottomless abyss. His wooden home clings to rock, and each morning he scales steep paths to tend to his flock. It's a life filled with hardship, danger, and breathtaking silence. When Xiaoxu visits, she's stunned by his calm demeanor and quiet joy. "The goats don't talk back," he says with a laugh. His hands are calloused, his eyes bright. This isn't loneliness, it's purpose. In his cliffside cabin, where the wind howls and the stars shine unobstructed, he has found something most people never do: peace. Hidden Beekeeper's House. Shibing, Guizhou. Tucked between the cliffs of Shibing is a small, almost invisible wooden house suspended high above the valley floor. It's easy to miss, unless you're looking for it. This is where a quiet old man keeps bees, living in isolation with buzzing companions as his only neighbors. Xiaoxue stumbled upon him during a hike, and he invited her to climb up a narrow path to see his world. The house is simple, but the view is extraordinary. Mist rolling over treetops, birds circling below. The beekeeper's life is quiet, timed to the rhythm of honey flows and mountain winds. It's not easy to reach, but for him, it's the sweetest place on earth. The wooden house on the abyss, Guizhou. Perched dangerously on a cliff hundreds of meters above the ground, this old wooden house stands defiant against gravity. Its beams are weathered, its planks faded, but it still clings tightly to the mountainside, as if it were grown from the rock itself. Locals say no one knows who built it or why. Xiaoxue had to scout the area by drone before finding a tiny trail leading up the cliffside. Inside, the house is empty, quiet, echoing with the whispers of wind and time. Standing on the porch, she looks down at the sheer drop. No guardrails, no safety nets, just the thrill of being on the edge of the world. This house is a symbol of resilience and mystery. Who lived here? What were they seeking? The answers are gone, but the presence remains. Zixia Palace, the sky-high Taoist temple, Dongchuan, Yunnan. At an altitude of 3,500 meters in Yunnan's Dongchuan district lies one of the world's highest Taoist temples, Zixia Palace. Reaching it is a test of willpower and driving skill. The mountain road to Zixia includes 49 hairpin turns that climb nearly 1,000 meters in elevation over just a few kilometers, with slopes as steep as 70 degrees. Once at the top, the world below disappears. Xiaoxu arrives breathless, but enchanted. The air is thin, but the energy is rich. Red lanterns swing in the breeze, prayer scrolls flutter like flames. It feels like you've stepped into the sky. The temple isn't just remote, it's transcendent. Zixia Palace shows us that spiritual heights require physical courage to reach. The solitary guardian of Tianlu Mountain, Zhengan, Guizhou. For 18 years, a solitary grandfather has lived under the cliffs of Tianlu Mountain without electricity, neighbors, or modern comforts. In a world obsessed with connection, he chose disconnection. Xiao Xue had visited him before, but this time she stayed longer. He cooks over wood fire, drinks spring water, and reads by sunlight. His temple, a small and forgotten place of worship, is kept immaculately clean. "I'm not lonely," he says, "only quiet." The climb to his home is steep, the path nearly erased by time. But what you find at the top is a kind of sacred solitude, the kind few will ever truly understand. His life is a quiet resistance against the rush of the world. The Red Cliff House, Sinan. From the valley below, it looks like a splash of color on the cliff wall, a red cabin lodged precariously between sky and stone, 200 to 300 meters above ground. Xiao Xue had heard rumors, but had never seen it herself until now. Climbing the narrow trail to reach it took over an hour. When she arrived, the house was locked, abandoned, but signs of recent life were everywhere. Ashes in a fire pit, a hanging kettle, a worn-out stool. Who built it? Who lived there? The answers remain as mysterious as the view. Standing at the edge, she could barely breathe, not from fear, but from awe. The Hanging Temple of Renhuai. Though not as famous as Shangshi's Hanging Temple, the Renhuai version is no less impressive. Built on the side of a cliff with wooden stilts supporting it from below, it looks like a miracle balanced in thin air. Xiao Xue arrives by navigating through a local village, asking elders for directions. The only access is via a hidden trail that winds up the opposite ridge. From there, the temple comes into view like a dream hanging off the rock. Ancient beams still hold firm. The wind whistles through prayer flags. It feels like this place was never meant for crowds, only for those who dared to look up. The Sinkhole Village, Zhenxiong, Yunnan. In the depths of a massive Tiangkeng sinkhole in Zhenxiong, a few families still live, completely self-sufficient and untouched by modernity. Xiao Xue peeks over the edge and sees a green paradise far below, terraced fields, small houses, children running through cabbage rows. The descent is long and dangerous, but what waits is magical. The air is clean, the pace is slow, and the silence is comforting. These families have chosen simplicity, not out of necessity, but from a desire to live close to the land. No roads, no shops, just sky above and soil below. It's like a real-life Shangri-La, hidden in plain sight. Water Curtain Cave, a real-life myth. Tucked behind a cascading waterfall lies a home that feels like a scene from Journey to the West. Known as the Water Curtain Cave, this hidden house is built directly into rock, with water flowing like a silk veil over its entrance. Here, a couple in their 70s still lives, claiming their ancestors have stayed in this exact spot for over 100 years. Xiaoxu steps into the cool mist and feels as though she's stepped into legend. Inside, the stone walls are smooth and damp. Outside, the waterfall sings a lullaby. It's not fantasy, it's faith. The Water Curtain Cave is a reminder that sometimes Myth is just reality we haven't found yet. From cliffside temples to hidden homes beneath waterfalls, these places remind us that wonder still exists, if we dare to look. Which one amazed you the most? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden corners of the world. Adventure is waiting. Will you follow?